And so much of the attack on masculinity has come from a lot of different fronts. But one of them is Hollywood, which is pop culture for decades now. I mean, just with a million examples, but look how Ken in the Barbie movie, $1 billion movie, look how Ken was portrayed as a representative of men. Compare Ken to Hercules. Kevin Sorbo is here, actor, producer, director, author of the new book, The Test of Lionhood. Mr. Sorbo, how are you, sir?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. But yeah, we do got a little battle on our hand. This book is a good example of where the road of any kid needs to go.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the root of this. Why do stories matter? And what stories are we telling? We'll start with our young boys.
Well, if you look what schools are doing right now, I mean, you've seen all this attack on school boards and they're bringing up these books that they're making these kids read in third, fourth, and fifth grade. It's absolutely insane. I mean, these over-sexualized, crazy books and promoting different things that I would think the vast majority of parents, if they really paid attention, and more are, thank God, they're finally waking up. I joined the Brave Books people at bravebooks.com. Please go check that out. They came to me because I do a lot of speaking events, and I say, I'm tired of this silent majority stuff that's going around, because if there's such a silent majority out there and they're so sick and tired of what's going on in the world, then they need to speak up more. They do each year, but it's very slow. We need a tidal wave of people to become lions instead of these sheep that are out there. And this book really came on the heels of me talking about waking up the lions. So they approached me, and The Test of Lionhood is a wonderful children's book. Brave Books does like books for 4 to 12-year-olds. And it's not bashing on any group whatsoever, but it's about letting boys be boys. And it's a story about a lion cub named Lucas, and he goes out into the woods with his 2 younger siblings, his sisters. One gets cut by a very, very dangerous plant that you're going to die very quickly if you don't get the antidote for it. He realizes he doesn't have time to go back to his mom and dad. He knows his dad taught him the antidote is up on a mountain, so he's got to climb this mountain by himself. He's got to get past his fears. He's got to go all these obstacles. He's got to find a way to become a man in such a young boy's body. But he ends up finding the flower and saving his little sister. And this book is just really about letting boys be boys and really let girls be girls. Let them grow up and let them enjoy life until we decide, what we want them to be, and we're about this pronouns and all this other crap that's going on out there. So this book is really just a wonderful book about finding your way down the road to hopefully be a strong man when you grow up and be a strong provider and safety person for your family.
It's great. Okay, so when a young boy reads this book, what virtue do you want them to learn and to build inside of them that can turn them into a man one day?
Bravery. Stop letting fear. Governments of every level, Hollywood, they do the same thing. They use fear as a weapon to control our lives. I mean, Andrew Breitbart said himself that, the culture runs downstream. Politics run downstream from culture. Who runs the culture? Hollywood does. Walt Disney said back in the 1950s, movies and television are going to influence our youth. Well, I think Walt's pretty spot on, and he's spinning in his grave right now, seeing what Disney's doing with his name brand, because Disney's about to lose over $1 billion this year. And if I was a stockholder, I don't think it'd be the messaging they're putting out is just making. You brought up the Barbie movie. Ryan Gosling, one of my spinoff series on Hercules was Young Hercules, and Ryan Gosling played me as a teenager when he was 20 years old. A lot of people don't remember that show because it only lasted seasons. But in this, I never saw the Barbie movie. I knew it'd be a big hit because generations have been played with Barbies. But my gosh, the whole idea is that women don't need men. Men are useless. Men are wimps. Women can just survive on their own without it. And it's just sad what we're doing to break up the family right now. We're head on that road. There's no question about it. And my book is really about keeping families together and keeping, the father has his part of the family. The wife has his part in the family. Mother and father together are very helpful in making kids grow up, boys or girls grow up, I think, in a stronger and positive way. And, you look at what Hollywood's done, most sitcoms, they always got the dad is always kind of stupid and dumpy, and then mom is hot, and the teenage kids, all they do is make fun of dad. So we've had 30 years of kids growing up realizing father's not that important to the family. We'll just make fun of dad. And it's quite sad because the brainwashing has been very effective.
Yeah, you watch any show on the Disney Channel for the last couple of decades, and that's been the formula, and it's pathetic. What lessons, what virtues were taught in the Hercules TV show?
Amazingly, being in a mythological show, they had a lot of biblical moral values in there. And I can prove that by the thousands of letters I got over its 7-year run. We became the most watched TV show in the world by season 3 in 176 countries. And there was always bravery, and there was always moral messages in there. That was our 3rd-year spinoff show, Xena. And then, like I said, with the 5th year, it'd be great if you could pull up that shot of me with, that's Cull the Conqueror, showing a movie I did at that time. But be funny if you guys find that picture of me posing with Ryan Gosling. But anyway, it was an amazing show that a lot of kids wrote to me saying, your character has shown me that I don't have to fight back, that I can talk my way out of things, that there doesn't have to be so much anger in my life. And I've had so many people say, I started working out because of your show. I became a stunt guy because of your show. So it shows, once again, how the impact you can have, for good or bad, through the world of movies and television.
Okay, so that's really interesting. So you would think Hercules strong, you'd think the lesson would be the toxic side, right? You got to be big and strong so you can fight your way out of problems. But you just said a lot of the emails you got were people watching you not use your physical strength to solve.
Because there's strength in that. There's certainly strength in that. I mean, to go in, I think every time Hercules got in a fight, he had no choice. And he was there to stop things and there to stop any sort of conflict. But a lot of times when you meet in the world we're living in today, there's a lot of jerks out there, and there's a lot of anger and a lot of hate out there. And our government, unfortunately, loves to play up on that and continue that. And the divisiveness keeps happening. It's amazing that we can't even have freedom of speech anymore. It's usually to one side. It's subjected to one side, and that's to the right. The left is amazing to me that they have so much control over media, so much control over television, movies, articles in the newspaper, news, all these things. I find it hard to believe that there's not some liberal writer out there behind closed doors going, what are we? It's crazy what we're doing right now and making the world the way we're making it. Because I think we're at a huge tipping point right now, and people need to wake up and fight back. And that, once again, that's why it's test the lionhood. We need to wake up the lions out there. It's time to wake up.
Yep, that's why I'm so grateful to you and other people out there who are finally filling that void that we used to have. It used to be the culture. It used to be normal. Father Knows Best was the name of the TV show. Like, this was just standard. And now this is not. Like, now this is countercultural, what you and others are finally starting to do. What's that lion within? Speak to that. You say you give speeches about that. What does that mean, the lion within?
No, I said just wake up the lions. Quit being afraid. I get so many actors, producers, writers, anybody. I do a lot of independent movies. I'm a victim of the original cancel culture. About 11 years ago, my manager and agent said they couldn't work with me anymore because of my Christian values and conservative values. And I laughed at that, going, you're the industry that constantly streams for, they scream for tolerance, right? But we all know it, they're hypocrites, just like the people in D.C. are a bunch of hypocrites. Truth is kryptonite to these people. So I formed Sorbo Studios, sorbostudios.com. Please go to sorbostudios.com. I've got a number of movies that I've been part of through my studio, a number of other independent movies, because once Hollywood gave me the boot and blacklisted me, I love the industry. And I said, you know what, I'm going to keep doing movies that make a difference for families in a positive way instead of a negative way. And we're making an impact. And I'm not the only one doing it. There's a lot of other independent production companies out there that are putting out really good movies with solid messages. So my latest movie, Miracle in East Texas, will be out in October. Please go to sorbostudios.com. Sign up right now. Let's fill up those theaters. We only get one weekend out there. If we fill up those 750 screens across the country, we'll get more time there. So sorbostudios.com, and of course, bravebooks.com. Bravebooks.com will bring you to this page with not only my book, but books that Kirk Cameron's done, Bethany Hamilton's done. By the way, I was in her movie Life Story with Dennis Quaid and Helen Hunt. I was the guy that saves her life in the movie Soul Surfers. I know there's a lot of people that watch that movie.
Yeah. So how has your Christianity influenced you, but also specifically this topic of masculinity, right? Because a lot of people think of Jesus as like baby Jesus or just as like a weak lamb, or people think that the weak shall inherit the earth means the same as the weak shall inherit the earth. The meek and weak are not the same. They may rhyme, but they're exactly the opposite. How has that impacted you and this topic of masculinity?
Well, I've been a Christian my whole life. I don't claim to be a better person than anybody else or a perfect person. I'm certainly not a perfect Christian, but I don't think Jesus was all that meek and weak. I mean, that guy was pretty tough, flipping a bunch of those tables over when the people were using it as they gambling and everything else at the right at the footsteps of the synagogue there. So I think the guy was a pretty tough dude. And I think that the reason people followed him is because he obviously had the charisma and the speaking abilities. I mean, he told stories through parables, right? I mean, that's how he told stories about, moving on with your life. And he said, you will be attacked if you follow me. They will go after you. And he wasn't wrong about that. But I'm okay with that. Facebook took me down over 2 years ago for posting the truth about COVID. Everything I said about COVID now has been proved to be true. Why is not Facebook calling me back up with that little wussy Zuckerberg and saying, hey, we'll give you your 2 million followers back. But, once again, Zuckerberg and his trolls hate the truth. They absolutely hate it.
Jesus was the Lamb, also the Lion of Judah. Your book,
Yes.
The Test of Lionhood. And where can people buy the book?
BraveBooks.com is the best place to go. BraveBooks.com and sign up now. You get my book signed for free if you sign up to join the club. And then you get one book every month to read to your 4 to 12-year-olds. That's the age range that they're reaching out to, with positive stories.
That's all mine are in that range. Kevin Sorbo, great to talk to you, sir. Please keep it up.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, I forget who it was I talked to a while back, and I said same question, like, tell me the importance of stories. Why are stories so important? We have to understand. I think we've forgotten how important they are for so long. So we just allowed our kids in particular, but us too as adults, to just take in whatever they feed us. Whatever's available, whatever's on Netflix, whatever I scroll through, boom, click, I'll just listen to it. It's like, no, that's the stories you input into your brain and your heart and your soul change you. And I asked that to someone. I said, tell me about the importance of stories. And they said, well, Jesus told stories. Jesus told parables. That's always going to be more powerful in someone's soul than editorial. It always will be. Stories are always more powerful, and we're fed some really, really bad stories. So we need to actively go out of our way to find the good stories and to tell ourselves good stories and to tell our children good stories if we want them to be men and women of virtue. Nothing like this has ever been done before. It's called Politics by Faith with me, Mike Slater. We are bombarded with news all day long, and I don't know about you, but it makes me anxious and worried and all these not good feelings. So in Politics by Faith, we take the news of the day, we lament the brokenness of it, and then we take the turn and we give you a biblical or historical perspective, and hopefully that will bring you some peace so that you can fall asleep at night and reminding you of what is in your control and also what is not. Hopefully this will change our perspective of how we look at the stories of the day. Politics by Faith, it's available now everywhere you download podcasts. Politics by Faith with Mike Slater.